You feel it before you hear it. The sharp jab into your shoulder. The way the stock comes back and your cheek stings just enough to remind you that was a 12 gauge. So, you start compensating. You lean away from the gun. You lift your head a fraction before the trigger breaks. You buy a softer pad. You consider switching to a 20 gauge, maybe even a 410, because the recoil is clearly the problem. It is uncomfortable. It is exhausting after 100 targets, and it must be why you are missing. Except it is not. The recoil is not destroying your score, and once you understand what is actually happening every time you pull the trigger, you will realize that every dollar you have spent trying to reduce recoil has been treating the wrong problem. Today, we are going to dismantle the biggest myth in clay shooting, explain the physics that proves it wrong, and give you 3 drills that fix the real issue, which has nothing to do with how hard your gun kicks. Before we start, please subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. The myth and the physics that breaks it. Here is the myth. Most shooters believe that recoil causes their misses, that the kick moves the gun during the shot, throwing the pattern off the target. It feels intuitive. You feel the gun jump. You see the clay sail past unbroken. The connection seems obvious, except the physics say otherwise. When the firing pin strikes the primer, the powder ignites and the shot charge begins accelerating down the barrel. From ignition to the shot leaving the muzzle takes approximately 3 to 5 thousandths of a second. That is 0.003 to 0.005 seconds. The recoil force begins at the same instant the shot starts moving. Newton's third law. But here is the critical point. The shot exits the barrel before your body can react to the recoil. Your neurological response time, the time between a physical stimulus and your muscles responding, is roughly 0.15 to 0.2 seconds. That is 30 to 50 times slower than the shot's exit. By the time your shoulder even registers the kick, the pattern is already on its way to the target. The recoil you feel cannot steer the shot because the shot is gone before you feel it. So, if recoil is not moving the gun during the shot, what is? The real problem: flinch. What moves the gun is not the kick. It is the anticipation of the kick. Your brain knows what is coming. It has felt that jolt hundreds, maybe thousands of times. And somewhere along the way, it started bracing before the trigger breaks. Not after, before. That brace is the flinch. And it takes several forms. Your head lifts off the stock a fraction of an inch before the shot fires. Your hands tighten on the forend and the grip, pulling the muzzle down. Your shoulder pushes forward into the gun instead of staying relaxed and letting the recoil happen. Your eyes close just for a blink. At the moment of firing, every single one of these micro movements happens before the shot leaves the barrel, which means every single one of them can move the muzzle off the target. This is why you miss, not because the gun kicks, because your body braces for the kick before the gun has even kicked. And here is what makes this so difficult to fix. You cannot feel yourself doing it. The flinch is preconscious. It happens faster than your awareness. You pull the trigger, the gun fires, you feel the recoil, and you assume the recoil caused the miss. The flinch happened so fast and so automatically that you never noticed it. You are blaming the result for the cause. Why over 50 shooters are worse? If the flinch is preconscious and automatic, why does it hit over 50 shooters harder? 2 reasons. First, you have more repetitions. A shooter who has fired 10,000 shells has 10,000 recoil memories stored in the nervous system. A shooter who has fired 50,000 shells has 5 times that many. Every shell reinforces the neural pathway that says, incoming kick, brace now. The more you shoot, the deeper that pathway gets carved. This is why experienced shooters often flinch worse than beginners. Beginners have not built the association yet. You have built it over decades. Second, your body talks to you more loudly after 50. Shoulders that used to absorb 100 rounds without complaint now send pain signals after 30. That pain is not just discomfort. It is a signal to your nervous system that something harmful is happening. And your nervous system responds the same way every time, by bracing harder before the next shot. The more your shoulder hurts, the more aggressively your body pre-reacts, which causes more misses, which causes more frustration, which causes more tension. It is a loop, and you cannot break it by reducing recoil, because the flinch is triggered by anticipation, not by the actual kick. Even a 410 will not fix a flinch if your brain is still bracing for it. 3 drills that fix the flinch. You fix the flinch by retraining the pre-conscious response, not by thinking about it. You cannot think your way out of a reflex. You retrain it through repetition that breaks the association between the trigger and the kick. Drill 1. Snap caps with a partner. Load your gun with a mix of live shells and snap caps. Have a friend load it so you do not know which is which. When you hit a snap cap, the gun clicks but does not fire, and you will see your flinch. Your head will lift, your shoulder will push, your hands will tighten. This is the first time you will actually witness what your body does before the shot. Shoot 20 rounds this way, mixed live and dummy, at a patterning board or a close crosser. The goal is not to hit targets. The goal is to train your body to stay still through the click. When you can pull the trigger on a snap cap and your mount does not move, your flinch is correcting. Drill 2. The one-shot reset. At the range, fire 1 shot. Then put the gun down. Walk away from the station for 30 seconds. Reset your body. Drop your shoulders. Shake out your hands. Then come back, mount, and fire 1 more. This drill forces a break between the recoil and the next shot. It prevents your nervous system from stacking recoil memory on recoil memory, which is what causes the flinch to escalate during a round. Over time, gradually increase to 2 shots, then 3, then a full pair. But always reset between sequences. You're teaching your body that each shot is independent, that the kick from the last one does not predict the next one. Drill 3. Dry fire with focus on the target. This is the most underrated drill in shooting. Mount your unloaded gun, call pull, and swing to a fixed point on the wall or a lamp fitting. Focus entirely on the target point, not the gun, not the bead, not your hands. Pull the trigger. Did the muzzle stay on the point? If it dipped, even an inch, that is your flinch. Repeat this 50 times. Not 10, 50. You are rewiring a neural pathway that took decades to build. It takes repetition. When you can dry fire and the muzzle does not move, you have retrained the response. The mindset shift. The most expensive mistake in clay shooting is buying your way out of a flinch. A new stock, a lighter load, a different gauge. These things reduce the kick. They do not retrain the brace, and the brace is what costs you targets. The shift is this. Stop asking, how can I make recoil more comfortable? And start asking, why is my body reacting before the gun fires? The first question leads to equipment. The second leads to a better score. Your challenge this week. Take drill 1, the snap cap drill, and run it for 1 full practice session. You will see your flinch. That is not a bad thing. That is the first step to fixing it. Let me know in the comments if you have ever caught yourself flinching, and whether you realized it was happening before the shot, not after. If this video helped you, subscribe to the channel and like this video. Until next time, keep your head in the game and your eye on the target.